Welcome everybody to our webinar, which will be starting shortly. We just have a minute and then we will kick things off. So we'll start very soon. Well, once again, welcome everyone for joining our webinar this morning on how to sell managed Microsoft services. And just quickly, I'd like to introduce myself for those who don't know me. My name is Peter Pisnello here at Blue Chip Infotech, one of the product managers, and I look after this amazing product, Augmentt. So we're glad you could join us this morning. And with me on the call, I'll also have Gavin from Augmentt, who's the chairman and co-founder from Augmentt, and also George Smith from Augmentt as well. So we thank you for coming along, and I'm glad you could join, because we can really see there's a need there to help MSPs on how they can grow and scale their cybersecurity services by leveraging Microsoft security audits and management. Because as we know in today's world, proactive and robust cybersecurity solution is not an option, it's a necessity. So today we'll take you through that. Like I said, we have Gavin with us, who's a former co-founder of Enable and chairman of Augmentt. He's helped thousands of MSP across the globe grow their business and increase profitability. So let's listen to Gavin as he provides insights on how you can secure your client's #1 critical business application and uncover new security revenues. So without further ado, we'll hand over to Gavin from Augmentt.
Peter, thank you very much for having me here today. And hello, everyone out there. I'm sure some of you I have seen and know from my earlier days at Enable. We used to come over and do great big partner events every year, and would have 400 or 500 MSPs come out and meet and greet and chat. So it's nice to be back. I was in your fine country in January and enjoyed it very much, and I look forward to getting back to see you in person again soon. But today what we're going to talk about is how to sell Microsoft managed security services. So as Peter said, I was the co-founder and former CEO at Enable. So we invented the first multi-tenant remote monitoring and management platform for the channel back in 2000, and helped the channel go from reactive to proactive to managed services. And actually that's literally where the term managed service came from, was that journey. So as you know, way back then in 2000, when dinosaurs were roaming the earth, basically there was no multi-tenant RMM. So the channel was basically break fix, time and material, putting out fires and running around with screwdrivers trying to keep things cobbled together. It was, and today, basically 100% of the channel have an RMM for device management. We at Augmentt have created the world's first multi-tenant RMM for Microsoft and SaaS security management. We believe that it's great to manage the devices, but it's also critical for MSPs to be able to deliver managed security services for Microsoft and SaaS applications. This is kind of the next revenue opportunity for the channel, and we want to be there to help you. Augmentt has over 10,000 MSPs, MSSPs, and SMEs secured on the platform worldwide. And the whole concept is that we provide you with a single pane of glass so that you can audit, configure, monitor, alert, manage, and report across all your Microsoft tenants and all of the users in real time. So we want to make your life much easier and help your technicians become way more productive. And we are SOC 2 Type 2 certified. We take security very, very seriously. Next slide, please, George. So what I'm going to do today, I've given you a bit of an intro on Augmentt. I'm going to talk a bit about the space, and then I'm going to actually take you through the journey of how our partners actually sell Microsoft managed security services. And just to give you a bit of an idea, our partners have grown their managed security services practice. So the number of seats that are secured on our platform year over year have gone up 650%. So it's quite a staggering growth number, but that is a result of our partners going out and auditing their customers' environment, showing them what's wrong, and then upselling them their premium security services, which is really around being able to audit, configure, monitor, alert, remediate, and report on all Microsoft security policies and postures. So you think of the Essential 8 that is so important in the Australian, New Zealand market. These are the things that you are going to be covering, all the configuration, the user application management, the MFA management, all of that kind of stuff. So we're excited to be able to help you really improve and scale your practice. Next slide, please, George. So one thing as Peter said, I've worked with tens of thousands of MSPs over the last 24 years. And our whole thesis is, how do we help you improve your business and your service delivery model so that you can run a better business more effectively, efficiently, and profitably? And so, here we are in getting close to the end of 2023, moving into 2024. And I'm sure most of you have started your business plans or have done your business plans for 24. And so we've done a bunch of surveys out in the market, and these are the things that MSPs have said are their top 4 priorities for 2024. So number 1 is to grow cybersecurity revenues. Number 2 is, how do I scale and how do I deliver managed security services around Microsoft across my entire base? So it's, how do I standardize my service delivery for my techs? How do I automate a bunch of the services? And how do I really scale that service delivery model? And then how do I proactively manage all of my client security policies and postures? So how do I make sure that all of my customers have MFA enabled and it does not drift, and I have real-time visibility into that? How do I understand that the right people have the right permissions to use the right applications in the environment? Again, back to the Essential 8, how do we make sure that those are being met and we're monitoring those security policies and postures in real time and making sure that they're being enforced? And if we do those top 3, we are going to dramatically improve our profitability as a business. And that's, I think, the end goal for most MSPs. And if you look at the opportunity in front of the channel today, this is very unique. This is exactly back to 2000, when the whole channel was going from reactive to proactive to managed service, and this was a massive business transformation for the channel. Today, IT is growing, managed services, is growing at an accelerated rate. And you look at these numbers here, that from this year to 2030, so 7 years from now, actually almost 6 years from now, the market is going to more than double, go from 300 billion to 716 billion, and that's USD, by the way. So even higher in our Canadian dollars or your Australian dollars, and growing at 13.6%. So that means that if you're doing a general managed service industry practice, your practice should grow at 13.6% if you're just doing the normal stuff. Now, if you're focused on managed security services, as you can see in the red box, that's the hottest area of security where SMBs, your customers, are going to be spending their budget. So managed security services is the highest growth section, and it's where they're going to spend the most. And then you look at cloud security services, and over the next over the next 5 years, it's also going to be growing at an incredible rate, even higher, 22.5%. So if you're focused on the managed service space and the cloud security space, your business should be growing at 22.5% per year over the next few years. So this is a unique opportunity, and I've had 8 startups in my life, and my thesis is get in front of the money train. So where's the money being spent, and how do I provide a value to my customers that they would be crazy not to buy? And you folks are in a unique position to get in front of the market, show customers and prospects why you're different from the other people, and really help them improve their security services. So I think this is incredibly exciting, and we all know there's a terrible IT and security labor shortage, which makes you even more valuable. So if we think of Microsoft, managed Microsoft security services, and if you think of your practice today, I did this chart on the NIST standard, and I apologize because I will actually redo this on the Essential 8 standard, but I think the NIST standard is just as applicable because the subsets of the NISTs are the Essential 8. So they really have the same factors. It's just the framework is a little different. But the first thing is identify. So, thinking of your managed service practice today and your maturity and your service delivery, are you reactive or are you proactive? So if you audit your customer's environment, that's step 1, identify/audit. That's critical. Most reactive MSPs, service providers, do not have the tool to go out and audit their customer's environment to show them how the security policies, postures, scores are on a regular basis. The second thing is protect, which is the configuration of those policies, as well as doing the backup and the cybersecurity training. So the configuration area, I think everybody's pretty good on the backup. Security training is getting more and more popular, but the configuration is so critical because that is really the underlying aspect of the Essential 8, is making sure that these things, first you have to audit to see what the problem is, then you have to configure, but then you have to set up the detect, which is the real-time monitoring and alerting, so that you can detect if you have drift, a policy has changed, and you need to then be able to respond and remediate any of those changes that have happened or any of the new risks that have come forth. And then, of course, recover, being the resiliency and recovery plan for the business, not just the backup, but the recovery, resilience, and recovery plan for the whole business from a security perspective. And then to be able to provide the customers with reports on a monthly basis. So just to be able to auto schedule reports to show everything that's being done for the customer from a security perspective, what their security scores are, where there are areas that need to be improved, and have that automatically go out to all the customers on a regular basis. And so what we see in the partner base is the reactive service providers, a tech can manage about 125 to 150 seats per technician. When they get to proactive, it's 400 to 600 seats per technician. So of course, what does that mean? That means higher profitability and productivity for the MSP. And as we add in the next functionality that's coming soon, which is automation, this is going to dramatically increase the number, and we hope to over 1,000 seats per technician. So what I just wanted to frame that up, and now I'm going to give you two things today. One, we're going to give you a Microsoft Security audit and threat reporting tool for free, unlimited, for life, no strings attached. At the end, you'll get a QR code, and you can sign up for this, and it's our gift to you. You can run it against all your customers, all your prospects, knock yourself out, and we'll show you in the demo after my little presentation. You'll see the interesting stuff, which George will present the product and show you how it actually fits into your business. So the next thing I'm going to share with you is very quickly a presentation that our partners use to go out and sell managed Microsoft security services to their customers. So I'm going to be the salesperson, the MSP salesperson. You're going to be the SMB customer, and I am going to give you your own pitch, or the successful pitch that your peers are using in North America, in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, all over the world. It's nice and simple, and the idea is just to help the customer understand why it's important to audit, detect, protect, recover, and restore the environment. So the first thing you'll do is this free tool I just gave you to do these audits. This is a screenshot of the front page of it, but you'll be able to go into the customer with this audit report, say, hi, Mr. Customer, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. We've done this audit in your environment, and as you can see, you've had 160 issues in your environment over the last month. You can see the trend, you can see geographically where it's coming from. It shows you your security score, your posture score, and then it goes down and it shows you your MFA score, the number of breaches, and we'll show you the details of this in a couple of minutes. But it's a really nice user-friendly report, and then you can show them their postures. So are they green, yellow, red, of course, and you can drill in and see who the culprit is and what the exact problem is and what you need to do in order to fix it. So it makes it incredibly apparent for the customer that this is a problem. Their environment is not as strong as it should be. You now have a new auditing tool that you can show them where they have weaknesses, and you can help them audit and now protect, configure the environment properly, and then set up the real-time monitoring and remediation service so that you can keep the environment protected. And so the pitch quite simply is, every company has Microsoft, and it does not come configured out of the box. And it is important that we do configure it and we set it up properly. And if we do, we can eliminate a lot of the security issues. Next, please. George. Thank you. And as you can see, over the last 4 years, the number of breaches that have happened have gone up 775%. And you can see from the chart on the right, they're coming from all over the world. And just in Australia last year, in 2022, there were 94,000 reported cybercrimes, and that's reported, which is a fraction of the total amount. And that was up 23% year over year. And malware attacks were up 358% year over year. So the point is that there are more and more bad actors, and the most popular application actually happens to be Microsoft. And 95% of businesses use this. Most of the corporate data is in there for your business and your customers' business. The data that you collect from them, you also are storing that. And it is because it's the world's most popular application and all of the employees have access to it, it means that it is also the most desired application to try to hack, because once you get in through one person, you get into the full environment and you get access to almost all of the information. So and think about this is hackers can literally buy 400 million stolen usernames and passwords for $150. So they can buy all of Europe's, all of North America. They can buy Australia, New Zealand's 10 times over for $150. They put it into their nice phishing machines and now start applying AI to it. And guess what? It's not a matter of you as a small business, Mr. Customer. It's not a matter that your business is going to get hacked or one of your employees is going to get targeted and hacked. It's the fact that you're just part of this big database that is going through the mill of all of these bad actors. And so it's not a question of if you're going to get attacked. You are definitely going to get attacked. The question is, are we going to have your environment set up properly so that you're going to be protected? Next slide, George. And so it's critical that we set up things properly. We audit and configure your environment, as we've been talking about. We reduce the number of risky sign-ins. We reduce the phishings. We reduce the data breaches. And again, this all falls into the essential 8 benchmarks that you folks follow so closely. And we can now configure, monitor in real time, and remediate when there's a problem that happens, because we now have an RMM solution to be able to do this from a single dashboard across all of our customers. So this is going to really help us make sure you're protected. Next, please. Sorry, we have a little lag. All right, so as I say, we've done the audit, we've done the configuration, and now we set up the real-time monitoring that for threats, and we're able to respond to those. So audit, detect, protect, respond, and keep you safe for 98% of threats. This is not a guarantee that you'll never be breached. The point is we need to have that resilience and recovery program, but we also need to have the protection. So what we're saying is we would like to offer this additional service to you where we will be protecting your Microsoft environment. We'll do the audit, protect, detect, respond, recover, and we'll provide you with monthly reports to show you exactly what we've done for you and how we're keeping you safe. And what we do is we charge for this service $10 per seat. So I'm take a step back here. What our partners do is they either have for example, a gold and a silver program they take to customers. The gold would be the lower program. The platinum would be the higher program, of course. And they either increase those prices by $10, each of those programs, and build this in because everybody wants to be able to audit and monitor all of their customers who they sell Microsoft licenses to, or they charge it as a line item. So that's up to you. And we have all of the sales and marketing programs and go-to-market things for you to be able to price this out. So that's the high-level sales pitch. And we have all these decks that we can share with you and everything on how our partners go and sell Microsoft Security Service. The product has all the built-in, which we're going to show you right now. George is going to jump on and bring up the dashboard and show you how the product fits into your business model and helps you do the things that we just talked about. So this is not just about how do I sell it, which we will help you with, but this is about how do I actually manage Microsoft Security Services. And the product has all the built-in processes, and we will help you in any way that you need help with. But George, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Gavin. Just checking everyone can hear me okay. I know we've been having a little bit of lag with Canada to Australia and back again. So Gavin, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, the audio is perfect, actually.
Great. Okay, everyone. So here on my screen, I'm going to take you through a quick demo of the Augmentt platform. So as Gavin mentioned, Augmentt is the platform, and within it we have 3 specific modules that I'll be showing you this morning. Secure, which is our heavy hitter for configuring Microsoft that we're going to spend most of our time on. Engage, which is all about kind of managing the applications, and then Discover, which focuses on application inventory and shadow IT. So jumping straight into Secure, guys, as Gavin mentioned, we are offering to all MSPs for free this threat report functionality. So that means if you do a trial with us, whether you become a paying partner or not, you will be still having continuous access to generate these threat reports to highlight the risk in your customers' Microsoft environments. So the nice thing is, is that Augmentt is fully multi-tenant, so we can quickly jump from tenant to tenant here. We have our date filter here, so we can go back as far as 3 months if we want to generate more robust reports, and then easily export this information as a PDF and even schedule these to go out on a regular basis. And the whole idea, as Gavin discussed, is that you can take your customers through these reports that are quite user-friendly, highlighting the risks that are happening, showing that we need to be proactive with cybersecurity because threats are increasing all the time. And you have a client that might be obviously in Australia, so why are we seeing activity coming from Russia, from Spain, from Brazil? Your Microsoft identity score is only 42.5%. Your Microsoft secure score could do with improvement as well. Here are the top types of risks that we're seeing, whether it's user MFA or unlikely travel, and here's actually the top accounts at risk, and maybe there's the CEO themselves in there or another C-level executive that you want to highlight who's actively being targeted by hackers continuously. Now, in terms of all of those risk detections, we can see we've got hundreds here. We can actually unfold this list and begin to filter this by type of detection, by location, by severity, or even by user themselves. I mean, looking at this list here, we can see Faisal has, over 175, and then we can just filter by specific user as well. However, I'm sure some of you are familiar that at this stage of the conversation, maybe you want to keep things more high level and not as technical. So we've purposely built this report to focus on some key pillars, things like MFA status, inactive accounts. And again, you can unfold these with a click of a button to highlight who does or does not have MFA turned on. So this is the first part of the sales process that allows you, the MSP, to say, how do you want me to handle this risk that I've uncovered for you today? It's part of that audit step that Gavin was talking about earlier. The other key thing that you can show is our security posture report. Okay, so this is for once you've got folks interested, you can begin to dig a little bit. And as you as MSPs know, Microsoft has dozens and dozens of security postures and policies that need to be, in Microsoft and manually enabled. And that's the beauty of Augmentt, is that we're bringing that multi-tenancy and using things like quick baseline functionality so that you can apply these settings with a click of a button. But in terms of the customer view, what we've worked hard on, and this is a recent change, is being able to look at these different security checks, highlight to you, the customer, whether it's being resolved by a third party, partially compliant or not compliant at all, the type of license is associated with this check, and then the actual rationale. So it's very easy to break down to your customer why this is important, and if you enable it, the type of improvement that they'll be able to see. And again, this is something that you can export, that you can schedule, that you can even customize if there's particular checks from Microsoft that you don't deem as important as Microsoft does. You have the flexibility to generate and build this report to highlight, one, the need for your security services, as well as in the future, the good work that you're doing whenever you've turned everything green. Moving on to some other reports that we have that are pretty cool. The MFA report is actually one of our most popular reports with MSPs. MFA is often step number 1 for security best practices. And Gavin, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, and also because you can look at this in a multi-tenant view as well across all of your customers. So maybe on the posture, if you don't mind, just show the multi-tenant view. So here there's two companies in this view, but you would, if you had 50 tenants or 100 tenants, you would see all of them. And so at a glance, your NOC SOC can look across all of your customers, and then you can just drill into them individually based on which ones you want to do work with. So this is great for finding additional project work, or if you have a QBR coming up with a customer, you're going to run the report for them, but it's just a nice to have that global view.
Mm-hmm. And
also,
with
George, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Just a quick one. There's a question from the audience. I've been asked from David Barker. He's asking, would this integrate well with Ninja One, and what is the overlap? So Ninja One being an RMM tool.
Yeah, so Ninja One is an RMM, so we do have an integration with Ninja around our Discover module that would come into play. But I think the fundamental difference, with Augmentt is traditional RMMs are much more focused on the network and device management, and I'm sure Gavin can speak more to that. We're really focused on M365 and going deep and kind of providing the same RMM functionality that you would get with Ninja One for all the great bits and pieces that it's tackling, but we're solely focused on going deep on M365. Gavin, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, just and you'll see with Discover also, it's all applications, but we are an application SaaS cloud service security vendor, not a RMM for devices. That's the real distinction. And all of the RMMs are beating our door down to OEM our product because they have the device level covered, but now they want to get into the SaaS security management also. And Microsoft being M365 being a SaaS application is one of the key ones for the channel today.
So maybe just to dive a little deeper and to help out, kind of shed some light more on the functionality, sticking with the theme of user MFA, just to show you where we've come from. Again, we're still in the security posture. As Gavin said, we've got this nice high level view of multi-tenancy. I'm now drilling into my legal client that I'm managing Microsoft on behalf of. Here is the full report showing all the different security policies and postures that either are or are not in place. And the nice thing about Augmentt is now we actually have the ability to start remediating and actually turning on and fixing some of these things. So sticking with the theme of MFA, we can see user MFA here is only partially compliant. We only have one user of the 4 accounts using MFA. So again, simply by clicking on this, we're now going one level deeper, and now I can use my audit and configure tabs to help resolve the issue. So with the audit, I can look at all the accounts and I can quickly see their status. I can see who does have MFA on, their name, their license type, their role, what groups they're part of, and I can go and click to see who does not or is non-compliant, in this case, Bruce Wayne. So we want to fix that. So we go over into configure. I'm now presented with a couple of different options that, based on our MSP advisory board, they've helped us provide to kind of learn some of the things that are helpful to them. So one includes just the Azure per user. So going in and actually finding Bruce, clicking Bruce, and then with a click of a button, enforcing MFA. So a nice quick fix there. But the other cool thing is we can actually start accessing conditional access policies to add them to an existing one, or again, create a brand new Microsoft 365 conditional access policy straight from within Augmentt. So the joy of this is that you can actually begin to start looking at some of the problems, some of the things that aren't in place or implemented from a security posture perspective, and still from within the Augmentt environment begin to turn those things from partially configured or off completely to green and on. So moving on with the theme of MFA, as I mentioned, one of our most popular reports is actually the MFA report. We know that it's a critical piece of the security puzzle, and again, using our full multi-tenancy, similar to security posture, we can actually build out our companies here. And this is our demo environment, so we only have one company here in the minute, but in your environment, you may have a dozen, 50, 70 different companies in here. And at a glance, you're able to see what their MFA status here is. So again, looking at the Acme Legal, no, things aren't so good. So you want to go in and view the actual details. And again, here's where we can see all of our different employees, whether the MFA is on or off, and what their status is. And again, this is something that can be exported as a PDF, as a CSV, or have scheduled reports. The feedback that we've got from this in particular is from MSPs is that there's no place in Microsoft today that you can go to that pulls all of this MFA information. And if you wanted to build this yourself, it would be weeks of work and would probably break after a month, because the scripts you're using would, the name would change, or Microsoft would change where things live. So for senior technicians to be able to come in and instantly see, show me what the MFA status is for all my Microsoft clients across my entire estate, and let me see what conditional access policies are active, who's part of what, with a few clicks of a button is incredibly powerful. So something that we get a huge amount of good feedback on. Now, once we've actually got everything green here in our policies, and once our all companies view is looking a lot more green in general, we've got those Microsoft security scores up. We want to make sure that they stay there, and that's where our alerts comes into play. So with the alerts, I'm going to hop into my legal client here, and a couple of things that I want to show you guys. Once we get set up, there we go. So the first thing is, for anyone who's currently managing Microsoft, you're probably painfully aware that the Microsoft alerts that Microsoft has can be quite noisy. Very, very powerful tool, but ultimately what happens is they will give you a notification to say that there's been a risky login, but they'll also tell you that a patch has been deployed, an update has been completed, that MFA was challenged, but nothing really actually happened. And so it can create a lot of noise. And for an MSP who's managing multiple Microsoft 365 accounts, you can get hundreds of tickets created in a day. So what we've done is we actually use Augmentt to provide MSPs for the first time to be able to come into all these Microsoft alerts and begin to filter and categorize the ones that they want to see tickets for. So you can see, for example, here we have a bunch of different alerts, and you can see whether we have these enabled or not. So for example, again, with the theme of MFA, user MFA, if there is a change in security posture to user MFA, that Microsoft, because again, some alerts are at different thresholds, low, medium, high. So the rule that we've set up here is saying if it's of a medium or high threshold, send a ticket through to my PSA. So it allows you to go tenant by tenant or set global rules and basically set up the alerts that you want to see come through to your PSA, and thus remove the noise. Now, the cool thing is,
if I can add, on the configuration side, there's also templates that you can use so that you can just pick a template and apply it to your customer based on best practices. And the same thing with the monitoring is we've set up all the best practices for the alerts, for the monitoring. There's literally 137 different alerts you can have. And then if you want to change them from high, medium to low, all that kind of stuff, you can change whatever you like, but we have set up the best practices already. So this makes it very easy for you to get it up and rolling. And actually, George, if you don't mind, I'm maybe going a little backwards here, but can you just explain quickly the initial setup of Secure?
Yeah, that's it. So for Secure and Engage, very, very simple. Our process actually is whenever you become an Augmentt partner, we will actually sit down with you and your technical team and actually go through a full onboarding where we'll actually pretty much provide free professional services by making sure that your Microsoft account is optimized. So we use the Microsoft Graph API to pull everything in. We have our integration with CSP. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing that we've done over sort of the past few months is really accelerate the time and ease with which MSPs can get Augmentt set up and rolled out to all of their clients. And as I said, part of our process, that's basically how we start our trial, is we'll book a 90-minute call, bring in our senior technicians and actually help you get set up, and that starts with actually making sure that things are optimized in Microsoft for you as well.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is CSP is 95% of the MSPs have problems with their CSP, and because we've done this so many times, we've identified them and we help our new partners clean things up so that it's working properly. But the beauty is you can literally, anybody who you sell Microsoft to, we can auto suck in all of those tenants and all of those users, auto suck in the last 30 days of security data. So you will instantly get this audit report for all of your customers just by putting in the Microsoft admin credentials. And we have, tokens and all that kind of security protocols for grabbing the data. and you're up and running. So it is incredibly fast, easy, and we are very white glove at helping the partners get set up.
Absolutely. Just coming back to the alert side of things, we can talk a little bit about remediation as well, which we know is key. Like once we receive, a critical alert, we want to take action as quick as possible. And again, Augmentt lets you do that. So I'm still in my alerts under my legal tenant, and we can see the ones that are coming through. And simply by clicking the alert, I can now leverage my engage functionality, which I'll go into in a bit more detail in just a second. But what this allows me to do is instantly start locking down this account with a few clicks of a button. So I can do things like block sign in, sign them out of all apps, and reset a password. And that's all linked through our engage functionality, which I'll come on to in just a second. The last thing I want to show you in Secure is our summary report, which is the opposite of the threat report. Speaking with a lot of MSPs, we know that one of the challenges whenever it comes to upselling or contract renewals, sometimes customers kind of challenge and say, well, what is it I'm paying you for? And that's why we've purpose-built this report. Again, it's fully multi-tenant, so we can hop between tenants easily. Go back to my legal client here, got our date filter, can export this or schedule this to go out. And what this is doing is basically highlighting that we've prevented a number of incidents. We're improving security scores, identity scores, MFAs going up all the time, MFAs increasing all the time. And then here's some of the key incidents that we've presented or prevented. And again, going down to the bottom, prevented already 27 incidents this month. We can even filter by the users and whatnot as well. To give you an idea of the other scheduled reports coming under configuration, very, very easy. A nice little interface to show what we're sending through automatically to a schedule and to who. So you can see here we've got our secure MFA report, and whether I want to share that daily or weekly, click it to enabled, and am I sending it directly to the CEO, the CFO, the IT director, whoever it may be. Again, we've got our license report, our summary report. So that is the other thing I'll wrap up with on the Microsoft side of things is the license report before we jump into engage and secure. This is another recent feature of Augmentt, again, fully multi-tenant. And the challenge that we understand is that people change Microsoft licenses all the time, and Microsoft does not make that easy for MSPs to manage. And so often what will happen at the end of the month is it's usually your finance person or your operations person will come and tap a technician on the shoulder to say, how many Microsoft licenses do we have? How many are we reselling? What's left over? Who got bumped up? And usually your tech has to go and manually pull that information. Well, not anymore, because with the Augmentt license report, you can drill in to all companies or go to your legal client or whoever it may be. And ultimately through the different deltas, you can show how many different licenses you have, the assigned licenses that are in place versus the ones that you own, making sure that they are all assigned, and any of the changes that have happened month to month to make sure that if someone's gone, say, from business basic and you've had to buy a business premium, that business basic is not being put on the shelf and is being assigned to another user. So another neat little feature there to make sure you're optimizing your Microsoft environment. Gavin, was there anything you want me to circle back to in Secure before we hop into Engage or Discover?
No, I think that's a great high level. Engage would be great next, yes.
Perfect. So Engage, guys, is all about, as you've already had a sneak peek at, quickly managing your Microsoft and also your Google clients as well. It is available for Google, and this is just the Engage dashboard. So I've gone into my legal client in this demo environment, and I can simply click the user, and now I can instantly get action on all of these different tasks. Or again, I can push this button for a slightly different view. So the main idea here, guys, is that we know that 80% of the tickets that come through from Microsoft on a daily basis are often the same thing. I need to change a license, onboarding, offboarding, password reset, and you don't want your senior level technicians, spending time doing those sort of fairly manual things. So with Augmentt Engage, again, if Faisal needs a password reset, come in, tick Faisal, reset password, and again, Augmentt is automatically baking in all the best practices. So we want to manually create something, we've got best practices to make sure it's a good password. We're just going to auto generate it. In this case, we're going to require that the user changes their password when they first log in. And then am I sending it to me at my MSP to forward on, or am I sending it directly to Faisal's boss, Brian, reset password, done. So whenever a ticket comes in, Faisal needs a password that comes in through Autotask or ConnectWise, however your PSA may be. Someone comes in, texts Faisal, password reset, done. And the same is true for things like managing licenses or what groups they're part of, or even something a little bit more sophisticated like removing a user, so offboarding. Again, we're baking on all the best practices, so it's automatically resetting the password, signing them out of all the applications, blocking them from signing in again, and then you've even got granular access to do things like give another user access. So maybe Jack wants to have access to Faisal's email after he's gone. If anyone tries to reach out to Faisal after this, they'll want to set up forwarding rules and create a shared mailbox. So we can do that for, let's do Jack again. Next, double check everything, and we're good to go. And so in this way, it's just helping streamline some of those processes, but more importantly, you're leveling up some of your staff. So now office administrators or salespeople, basically anyone who works at your MSP can use Augmentt to start resolving some of these issues, and you don't need to give them access to the Microsoft environment where they might delete the CEO by accident or something.
Yeah, and the whole idea when you think of secure and engage is the idea of, okay, how do I standardize how my techs are supporting all of my customers? So all of my techs should be supporting all of my customers in a standardized, scalable way with automation. And so this, now we have built in all the best practices, all the processes, so that all of your techs will manage and secure all of your customers in the same way or based on the program that you have them assigned to. And that is just going to dramatically scale the capability of your team. Also, the platform has granular permission basis. So of course you can brand this to have your look and feel on the platform, and then you can give your customers either full visibility from a view or also administration, and you can give them granular administration. So you may have mid-enterprise customers who want to do their own employee offboarding and onboarding and password management. You could give them access to their dashboard to do just those tasks. So that's very popular with a lot of our partners also, is in co-managed environments.
Yeah, it's a great point, Gavin, with co-managed being on the rise and more people coming to MSPs for help, but maybe not necessarily wanting to give up everything. We're seeing Engage as a huge tool that's being used in that way, as well as for offshore help desks. Again, for anyone who's leveraging help from overseas, but maybe doesn't want to give them access to the full Microsoft environment either. They know if they're using external teams to cover 24/7 support, that Engage can help them do that. So last but not least, guys, I'm going to show you our third module, Discover, which is all about shedding a light on shadow IT and gives you a full list of all the SaaS applications that your clients are using. So again, from a technical level, this is something where we have, it's the only module that leverages a lightweight agent that you can deploy via PowerShell, via your RMM. We have integrations with all the major RMMs, including Ninja that was mentioned earlier. And what this does is it's basically parsing out the web traffic that the user is using and setting it against our database of over 22,000 applications and seeing what hits. And we're able to pull in that information. So again, here we've got our all companies view, got a date filter. I can go back as far as 90 days and I can export this as a PDF, schedule this report, or even export this as a CSV in Excel if I want to incorporate it into sort of other tools and kind of incorporate it with some other data. So with the all companies view, let's drill into let's see our marketing client here. And the whole idea, guys, is that if you were to go to your clients today and say, how many SaaS applications are you using? For some of them, you might have to explain what SaaS is. For others, they might guess and say, well, we use 5 or 6. Others might just not know. The reality is that they don't know. You probably don't have a strong idea either, because SaaS is everywhere and all you need is a laptop and a browser to access it. And so Augmentt Discover is giving you that visibility into what people are using. And once you have this data, you can cement your position as the IT expert and start opening conversations with your clients and with prospects around cost. So why are they paying for 3 apps that do the same thing? You know, why is there only 3 users consistently using an application that you bought 50 licenses for? You know, around productivity, why are people sitting on Facebook all day? And around ultimately risk as well. Why are people using things like file sharing applications like Dropbox like they shouldn't? And so coming down, we can start to kind of play with some of the information to you know, create more dynamic reports. The first thing we have is user filters. So you can filter by department, by job title, or even again by a specific individual user if we know there's a consistent offender. Now, whenever the applications come into Augmentt, they automatically get sort of pre-categorized with approval statuses, risk scores, and productivity. That is something that you, the MSP, can change yourself, either tenant by tenant or create global rules. So for example, in your services, if you think no one should ever be using Dropbox, you can go in, set a global rule to say, you know, Dropbox is always going to be a high risk, low productivity, and should always be restricted. Once we come down to the main application list, we can begin to filter by those exact things. So, you know, risk level, show me all the medium, the high, by productivity. And then because we have that agent that we're using, we can get really granular and see the specific users. So in this case, Dropbox, that are actually using it, how often they're using it, and if it's the browser version of the application or the desktop version of the application, because that's important in the story as well. Did they use it once, you know, to go pick something that maybe a client left somewhere, or do they actually have it installed on their company laptop and are using it every single day? And we can even filter the information by days active. So, Mr. Customer, you're our marketing agent, you know, our marketing client. Did you know that MailChimp is your 3rd most popular app? Okay, so again, just providing information that you can use at QBRs, we've had some MSPs get really creative with how they use the Discover data, particularly for some of the clients that say don't have budget to pay for enhanced cybersecurity services. What they do is they take this data and say, well, if I can actually save you some money by highlighting SaaS sprawl, but where you're paying for 5 apps that do the same thing, or unused licenses, would you set some of those savings aside to put towards, you know, the enhanced Microsoft security program that we want to put you on based on this threat report?
Yeah, the cool thing, you know, with the conversation with the customers, George said, you know, first you ask them how many applications are they using, and as you can see, we're covering all applications, whether they're desktop or cloud-based, and you know, a 50-person organization will say, yeah, we use 30 apps. Great. Can you please provide me with that list? You run the audit. Of course, you're going to find 80 applications that are being used. And so you go through and you do the approved ones, check them off. And then when you go in to do the report, you say, okay, great. Here are your approved applications that you see in your little box and you can see in the list. And here's all of the shadow IT that you have in your environment. Should we get a better understanding of that? Should some of those be approved? Great. If so, let's understand that. And then as part of your cybersecurity training for your customers, you will probably want to train some of the employees on why they should not be using these certain apps, where the corporate data is going. When the employee leaves, do they leave with that corporate data? Because they have the admin credentials, not the IT department. So it's having that fulsome conversation. And I guarantee you that almost no MSPs are, unless our partners, are going in and doing these audits for their customers and helping the customers understand their full IT stack. And like the important thing to understand is we all know device spending is pretty much flat. Application spending is going up 25% year over year, every year. And your customers now spend more money on applications than they do on network and laptop devices. So devices, that's great. That's the utility of IT, but the application layer is what drives employee productivity and a company's competitive advantage, not the devices. It's like the catalytic converter in your car. Who knows what that is, or who made it? Nobody cares. The utility is great and it's important and we need to manage it and secure it, but it's the application layer that actually drives the performance of your company as well as your customer's company. And that's where, as a trusted IT advisor, you need to be helping your customers manage and secure their complete IT stack.
Yeah, Gavin, and the other thing I'd add to that is as well, just as a further step, is with more and more people using more and more applications, there's huge opportunities for you to, you know, expand your services. We know that most MSPs are managing M365, and even here, looking at the all companies view in this example, we can see here the top applications in this case with the MSP's IT estate, is Microsoft. But the third most popular application that's being used across all my clients is Slack. So should I be managing Slack? Should I be offering backup services for Slack? So again, it's really interesting from, you know, an internal, you know, perspective to actually look at, well, what are the applications that my clients are using, and what services, you know, and advice and offerings can I put forward to them that are going to help grow my business? So with that in mind, guys,
so
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The so what with Discover is you provide the customer with a application, cloud, and desktop security audit. You show them, you help them identify the security risks, potential cost savings, productivity optimization, and then you put in the monitoring. So you monitor this, and you'll get an alert if there's any new apps that are being downloaded, or you know, additional things you need to be doing in your employee security training. And then you provide the customer with monthly reports. So it's a very simple service. You do the audit, you set up the monitoring, and you provide them with monthly reports on what's happening in their application stack. And again, you can give the customer a view into this dashboard if you like. So that's the MSP's value proposition. It costs you pennies per month, and you charge your customers for this a number of dollars per month. And again, we have all the sales, marketing, pricing that is going on out in the world. So just quickly, I told you before, we have all the sales and marketing programs. So our partners get access to this. We have Augmentt Academy with all of this, how to sell it, how to deliver it. We will help you soup to nuts on building your managed cloud security service practice. Next slide, please. And the next slide, I believe, is the pricing slide. Yes. So if you go to our website, for example, you'll see USD pricing, and we have a special program on where MSPs can get 1,000 licenses for equivalent of 450 Australian dollars per month. Blue Chip has got us to do a special for the partners. So until the end of the year, you actually get an extra 50%, so another 500 seats that you can use across your customers, and you get 1,500 seats of all three modules. So 1,500 of Secure, 1,500 of Engage, 1,500 of Discover. And so this is costing you roughly 30 cents per seat. Our partners for the Secure program, as I mentioned earlier, charge about $10. And it's funny because in the US it's $10 US, in Europe it's 10 euros, in the UK it's 10 pounds, and in Australia it's 10 Australian dollars. I don't know why it works out that way, but it does. And you can see, if you wanted to just buy per seat, you can see the regular pricing below, which is about 5 times more expensive. So the site license is a awesome deal for MSPs to be able to get this, standardize it, bring in all of your Microsoft customers, go out and audit, configure, and monitor and remediate and report on an ongoing basis. And if you take this QR code, you will we'll set you up with the free audit reporting, but we'll also set you up with a 14-day free trial of the platform so that you can play around with it. And if you like it, that's great. Basically what we do, we try to be very friendly. The first 3 months are basically month to month. So if at the end of 3 months you say, you know what, I don't like you guys, go jump in the lake, we will go and jump in the lake. And you get to keep the security reporting for as long as you like, forever. It's our gift to you. So we are here to help you build your practice, improve your productivity, the scalability of your team, the security services you deliver to your customers, and at the end of the day, help you improve your profitability. That is our goal. Any questions? We have a couple minutes left. I'm sorry, I get so excited about this.
Okay, so we do have a question. Do you integrate with Bitdefender Gravity Zone to see their information in Augmentt?
We do not at this time integrate with Bitdefender to receive that information. That is not that's not a core competency of ours yet, to be bringing in the data from Sentinel-1, Bitdefender, Acronis, the list goes on and on. We're not bringing in all of their alerts and centralizing all of their alerts. We're more Microsoft focused on the security policy and posture management, and then on a SaaS monitoring, we will monitor who's using those applications, like Bitdefender, et cetera. And the cool thing actually is, as George alluded to, you will now have, for everybody who you sell Microsoft licenses to, you will now have full visibility into all of those tenants and all of those users. So you will be able to start not just managing your managed customers, but all of your non-managed customers. You will now have visibility into them so that you are much better equipped to go out and sell them more services.
Thanks for that. And then another question, will this work with mobile devices? One of my customers' issues is iPhones to all his technicians. They all have an M365 F3 account.
That's a really good question. George, do you know the answer for that?
I think it's kind of two answers. So one, it depends on what you mean by will it work with mobile devices. So the Augmentt system is kind of built with responsive design best practices. So you still can access the portal through the browser. There's no native app, that you can download in the app store. And then there would be also sort of, I guess, a little bit more clarity around, like, if it's Apple versus Android and some of the comments. So I don't know if you can expand on it at all, but on the initial question, if you're getting at, is there an app version of Augmentt? The answer is no, but you can use it from a mobile or tablet device because the portal is built with responsive design.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
Thanks for that. And if that hasn't clarified your question, David, just send me an email and we can take it further offline. Not a problem. Okay.
Yeah, and David, we can set up a call with the sales engineer also to any of those detailed types of questions.
Yeah. So another question is, with all the alerts coming in, doesn't it just create more noise and fatigue for us as MSPs?
Well, the cool thing is actually this is actually, I think, super cool. When you set up the alerts, it will actually calculate for you how many alerts you are going to get. So it will show you exactly how many you can expect to get. And then so you can throttle, what's important or high, medium, low importance, and what rules you want to have against what customers based on the contract. So you might have a financial services customer who you have very high, tight security for. You may want to get a lot of alerts on that customer. But then you may have a customer who you have a very low service contract with, and your SLA is that you're only managing these, MFA as an example, or user access. And so those are the things that you want to have alerts for: impossible travel, MFA, and one other thing. So you get to choose by customer or across all your customers or by groups how you want to set up, but our system will actually calculate it for you so you know what you're going to get before you get them, and you can throttle things accordingly. And so the general rule of thumb is you get way fewer alerts because you are now managing what's important and what's not important. And once you've done the configuration you fix why you're getting alerts, because you're being proactive and configuring, and then the alerts go way down, and you get alerts when there's drift, or a new employee is set up and somebody forgot to put on their MFA, or somebody turned off their MFA, or you have an impossible travel situation, or somebody is trying to get into an application that they're not supposed to. So the answer is it's all good.
And another question, do reports have Augmentt logos or anything on them? So what does the reporting look like?
You can customize it to have your own logo on it, on everything, on the dashboard, on the reports, everything.
Going back to the permissions as well, you can differentiate. So what Gavin was talking, by giving your customers sort of specific access to their portions of Augmentt, you can also brand it with their logo too, as well as brand all the reports with your logo or theirs. So it's a fully white label solution.
Good. And I guess a good question is what strategies are MSPs using to resell or get paid for offering these services? So what are some of the strategies you're finding that we can share?
Honestly, the most successful strategy is doing the audit, providing customers with the audit report. So the Microsoft Security audit. So again, we auto suck in all your customers, my technical term, and all the users. It automatically pulls in the last 30 days of security data, automatically populates these reports, the posture report and the audit report, and then you provide that to your customer and you show them why they need your premium security services, because all of these things are not as strong as they need to be. And you walk through a presentation, much like I just walked you through, to explain why it's important. And then if the customer says, you know what, I don't want to pay you an extra $10 per user for that, then you say, great, you pull out a waiver and you give them a waiver and say, you understand you have these security risks and that you are responsible for those, because we've done our due diligence, we've shown you the problems, and we've given you our recommendations. And I know some MSPs don't like to do that. Most MSPs do like to do it because it's protecting themselves, because you are doing your job and doing the right thing by auditing them and showing them where the risks are and providing them with the solution to fix it. And it becomes, with the audit report, it's not a sales anymore. This is the solution. You have a problem, I have a solution for you. Would you like me to implement the solution? And the reason our users have grown 650% year over year is because MSPs are using this audit report to show their existing customers and prospects why they need premium security services.
Excellent.
That's simple. I'd like to make it more complicated, but it's that simple.
And the other thing as well is if you don't do it, somebody else will, right? So if you're not taking this proactive approach and having those audits completed, another MSP will.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I think every MSP in the world would prefer to be proactive on security than reactive on security.
Exactly. All right, well, that's our questions. And if you do have some more, feel free to send them through to msp@bluechip.it.com.au. And now we'll come to the fun part, I guess, of the webinar. We'll have our prize draw for a thank you for attending the webinar. So we'll get that drawn and see who's won our $100 gift card, which we'll get out to you for your patience and attentive listening. And we have Sam B, if I'm not mistaken, from Datacom. Congratulations, Sam, on winning the $100 gift card. So thank you, everyone. So that sort of draws a close to our webinar this morning. We'd like to thank both Gavin and George for being a part of it and helping us on this journey and really giving us great insight on how we can sell cybersecurity services with M365 Reports, and really showing us the importance of auditing, reporting, protecting and detecting threats through a single pane of glass. And that way you get that unparalleled visibility into your customer's security posture, and then obviously offering them a great service. So once again, thank you to everyone. Any other concluding words from Gavin and George before we go?
I am available if anybody has any questions. Peter has my email. It was up at the beginning of the presentation, but we are, full white glove, wanting to support our partners. And thank you very much, Blue Chip. And Blue Chip is our sole partner in Australia, and we do all of our business through Blue Chip, and we thank them for the support.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you guys. Thank you again. Thank you for everybody for being a part of our webinar this morning. And if you do have questions, feel free to send us any of those queries through to msp@bluechipit.com.au, and we'll be more than happy to assist. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks for attending this morning.
Thanks very much, everybody. Have a nice day.
Bye for now.